I'm trying to figure out why she thinks some of my speech is abusive. Now, so I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty. Nobody's going to agree with me that they have this either, right? Nobody here has had any abusive history in themselves or talked unkindly to anybody else, right? No, but I understand.
Hardly
it's
ever.
just me. It's just me. Right.
Maybe a little.
So what happened once, when she was explaining to me once after, I think it was about 3 years that we were going through this crisis, she's so sensitive that just the wrong look can put her into kind of almost a trauma state, because she just feels this stuff and it gets amplified. So one day she was trying to explain to me what I had said or done. I don't remember what the details were. And I was at my wit's end. I couldn't understand what it was she was talking about, because I hadn't hit, I hadn't gestured, I hadn't spoken in loud volume. But to her, the experience was abusive, and I was just baffled by it. So instead of my usual routine, which was to listen to her encounter with my own internal life, and then finally come out with something very profound, which just made her feel misunderstood and like I was being teachy-preachy, instead of that whole old pattern, I just sat there knowing I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know what she was talking about. And I sat there and chanted the Mool Mantra. Now, I didn't want it to look like I was chanting, because I didn't think that would be cool either. You know, your partner's telling you something really important. I mean, if you go like this, that's just aloof. No, I wasn't doing that. But internally, I just started, it's a prayer, right? I'm chanting the Mool Mantra. And I'm engaging my thinking mind in something else besides its usual jockeying for position to say the right thing back in a dispute. So in that place, I'm chanting the Mool Mantra, she's continuing to tell me, and I'm only partially hearing what she has to say, because I have to keep focusing on a moderately complex mantra to stay in position with it. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of that, she says, you know what? For the first time in my life, I think you understand what I'm talking about in this chanting. And I said, what? But I didn't say that. I just kept chanting the Mool Mantra. I said, I think I'm on shaky ground here because I'm not really listening. But what happened was she was feeling energetically understood. She was feeling met by a presence. And I was starting to understand from a different part of my being than my thinking mind what it was that she was feeding back to me. And it took a couple of years to really go through all this, but what I didn't understand was I was carrying a lineage of abuse that came down through my paternal lineage. And I believe it's what's going on right now in the Me Too movement. This is like rampant in the male psyche, this kind of put down of the female with this kind of domination, which arises really out of our own insecurity, that we have to try to fool the female who's 16 times more powerful. You heard that teaching? Yogi Bhajan. The female 16 times more powerful. It makes us men really insecure, so what are we going to do? We're going to try to keep you down because we're just too insecure to handle that. It might be okay that you're with somebody 16 times more powerful. It might be to your advantage. But no, we're too insecure, so we're like doing this put down, put down, put down. I couldn't see any of that stuff in me, and I could only point my finger at some of my male friends and see it in them. But the interesting twist on here, when I come back full circle on this topic, was I was always telling her that she was criticizing me for stuff I was saying and doing, which was really unfair because I hadn't said or done anything of any abusive sort of way that I could see. And I kept accusing her of being overly critical of me. But this was the wounded little child that had to do with the whole abuse thing. That abusive nature from my paternal lineage had put that hypersensitivity to interpret what my wife was just saying, which was, honey, when you said that, I felt this. There was no criticism in that. This was just feedback. So what happened was this opened up a whole ability to understand my psyche, and therefore the male psyche, what's going on in the world right now, to a much deeper level than I would have gotten on my own. So that's an example of marriage is the highest yoga, and getting to a certain stage in a relationship where your partner, everyone is the guru, right? Everything out there is God. And if you think your partner is other than God speaking to you, you're missing a huge opportunity, because they can see or feel or know so deep into your psyche that they're really, whether they thinking this in their regular mind, it's happening, that they are the agent of the divine intelligence giving you the feedback that you need to get. And how do you know? Because here it is. Argue with that, and you miss that God is in every single moment, in every single person. But there's this special gift of relationship that really gives it to us, because they can see right into the nooks and the crannies. So later in relationship, that's been one of my great joys, is that everything that comes up now, most of the time I have at least the ability to stop and listen and really feel what it is that's going on in the relationship, and that's been such a gift. And I don't think I would have gotten that if I wasn't in a relationship, because everybody else would give me a pass. Nobody that I know would have called me an abusive person. I just wouldn't have got that. But it was in there, and it was at that subtle level where you look, or something in the tone of voice was put down, like, there you go being afraid again. And I'm not afraid, and you're being afraid, and you should stop being afraid. Those kind of little, those inner dialogues that are happening, what you don't say to somebody else, that's the kind of thing your partner over time feels. And then out of her hurt was the feedback to me to get my attention. And it wouldn't have shown up from somebody else, and I wouldn't have noticed it, because I had to feel the pain that I was inflicting on her by my unresolved issues of life. And so what a huge gift it is to be with somebody over time. So hang in there. If you're having trouble in a relationship, just know that the only person you could possibly be with is call either yourself, like the other is you, or call it God. And again, God is you. So it's just kind of a hall of mirrors to talk about this stuff, because we talk in the realm of duality, but basically you're with God, and God is giving you feedback, whether the person would know it on the other side or not. And one of the best ways to get that is in a relationship. And if you want to be single your whole life, you'll get it somewhere else. There's all kinds of relationships in the universe that you'll get it. But I happen to think this is a really cool path. But let me just give you one other way to look at it. So if you're not in relationship, or if you're in the early stages of relationship where things are in the lovey-dovey phase, or maybe you're in the longing to be in relationship phase, here's another way to put the divine spin on that, if you will. So in a lot of, like probably all the mystical teachings of the world, we talk about God as the lover, as the beloved, the lover and the beloved. And sometimes the lover is you, and sometimes the lover is God. Whatever. Again, it's all just semantics in a world of artificial dualism. But anyway, if there is an other, right? Because there's only one, ik, onkar. But as soon as the one differentiates, you start to get a creation. Unless you had the illusion of differentiation, there couldn't be a creation. So we're all living the cosmic joke here. So as soon as there's a separation, there's a polarity, and we call it male and female, but it's not gender, it's just sort of the division. So they say that God created a creation in order to experience love. Because if there's just the oneness undifferentiated, there's nothing to love. So you pull it apart and you create an apparent separation. So here we are, if you don't have a relationship right now, if you're feeling the longing for the other, and it's in human form, one of the wonderful things to do with that from a Dharma perspective is to see and feel that longing as the longing for God, the longing for the divine. And we as humans practice that with other humans. But what it really is longing to be in the union of the yoga, which is again the highest yoga that is there. So that's that longing to be in love is like the best. Feel that separation, feel that longing, even if it's an illusion and electrolyte. There you are feeling it. That's the best thing. But put it into a spiritual perspective and attract your mate through that. You don't have to go around finding the right person. You just have to feel the situation you're in. You feel the longing, and then that longing actually becomes the beloved. There's a beautiful story of Arjun becoming Guru by actually totally experiencing the longing to be with his Guru, to be with Guru Ramdas. And through the full experience of longing, he merged so deeply into the love that he became the next Guru. So if you want love in your life, and you're thinking that the aching you're having in your heart is a problem, flip that around and see that as like just the best opportunity. Be with where you are. Feel the pain of separation. Don't argue it intellectually with your spiritual property. Go feel where you are and chant the name of God, and remember that that's just your route right into the divine. Now, let's say you're in an early relationship where you're experiencing a lot of joy, and this is the wonderful sort of honeymoon period. If you forget that your only lover is God, and you keep focusing it on the person, at some point that person's going to object and say, no, 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 I'm not that good, and they're going to give you feedback with a slap up the face that I'm just a human, and you're like sending out your own projection on me of perfection, and I'm just a simple person. And it might hit you like you're dismay when you finally realize that this other person is actually a flawed human being, and you're disappointed. So if you are in that kind of a situation, again, remember this other human's doing the best they can, and what you're really with is the divine in your partner, even if they don't remember it at the time. So whatever love you feel in relationship, feel it with that human and take it all the way to the divine. And whatever dissonance you're coming up with in a relationship, see that as your own reflection, your own disappointment, your own confusion that your ultimate beloved could possibly be a human. It's only that human while you're in that space of divine remembrance. And then it does work. But when you forget, then pain, the pain of suffering, is the best biofeedback you could possibly get. It's like, oh right, I forgot that my true beloved is the divine. And would you want to forget that? Would you want to go through your whole life forgetting that God is your beloved? Well, heck no. So what happens when you forget who you're going home with at the end of the night? Isn't that a Motown song? Is God. And here you've been given the opportunity, or not, to practice it in a human relationship. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that the coolest thing? So whatever comes up in human relationship, when seen in the perspective of the divine, just takes care of it and makes it an experience that does take you into the divine. And you add all the lovey-dovey stuff, that's great too. But what's really important is at some point, you and your partner will separate, unless you happen to be in the same plane crash. Somebody's going to leave before the other one. So at some point, there is going to be that tearing of the heart. It's not going to be an eternal relationship. So at some point, you got to deal with who you're going home with at the end of the night, which is the one and only. So you might as well start now, because it just happens to be a really wonderful path. So that's the context of the Dharmic relationship that we'll talk about more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, while I was listening to each person, what was fascinating me was how each topic kind of fed into the other one. Like, just something you said, you come back to something about prayer or Ravana, or the relationship piece and the warrior piece, and everything just was just so beautifully. I'm sitting here in the middle of it going, Waheguru. So I want to thank all of you for, I've been facilitating this course for 17 years, and every time I learned so much from the presenters, because every year that you will present, like you say, you don't think you're going to have something more to say, and like Sunbeer has just taken the course, 5 times or something, that you're always in a different place, and we're all learning. I mean, just to be alive with an intention of learning and growing, we're all learning, and I just find it so exciting, and I feel such a blessing to be sitting here in the middle of all of this wisdom and consciousness. So there's a lot of new people here, and I hope that whatever part of the class that you came in and were present for, that you got some gift from it. I just wanted to ask, we can go a little bit over if we want, right? So just wondering if, for the people who came in, this course is kind of a mini in-person class of a telecourse called Journey into the Heart of Sikh Dharma that we have every year. And it goes for 7 months, and it starts in September, late September. And if any of you we meet on the phone twice a month, and Sham Rang is always reminding me of the things that I left out, of the details of it. But if you want it, there's cards about the course, and if any of you have any questions about it, we have 14 presenters, we have 14 different topics, and we all learn from each other, and it's tremendous for me. And it's been going on for a long time, so I assume people are getting something out of it. So, does anyone have any questions about any of the things that have been talked about to any of the presenters, or about the course?
I have a question.
Okay.
How did the lawsuit go?
I got off that one. I can go on and on about lawsuits because they've been like the best things. I used to be terrified as a physician of a jury trial that it would actually get that far. And that absolutely was one of my best spiritual experiences, human experiences, energy experiences, what happened in a jury trial. It was just beautiful.
I'm a healthcare administrator, so I sympathize.
I'll share that one with you later.
Yeah, I experience it all the time.
Yeah. The fear of malpractice drives so much of the craziness in our healthcare system, and it's just a projected fear like all the other ones that start from in here, and the way through it is love. If you're a physician being sued and you're in a jury trial, the only people in the room that don't want to be there are you and the jury. You've got an automatic bond. You have already got skills as a physician. You hang out with the jury and let the law people look weird, and they love you. It's just really easy. It's not hard. You just work from love, and it works. Love.